Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. We've got Wednesday's best bets here for you guys on a pretty decent NBA slate, I would say. Some pretty easy stuff to choose from, if I do say so myself. We are coming off a 3-1 night on the best bets. Still looking to move forward and make a bit more units with you guys here, so continue to follow along. Also, check out the Play a Props video that we have up for you guys each and every weekday as well. We also want you to head to thelines.com. Use everything we have up on the site right now to help yourselves, and use that odds finder tool especially to make sure you're getting the best juice available to you from all of these books giving us bets this season. Nate, let's go ahead and run right into your first best bet here.
Yeah, I mean, quick note on the Rockets not getting their cover. Mavs, just some ridiculous calls. The Kyrie flop, the Kyrie intentional double dribble. But yeah, that was pretty frustrating. But I think the under was probably not the right call with Dallas at home. Needless to say, we are moving on here on Wednesday's 7-game slate. And going Pelicans, Sixers, going over 231. I saw it get down to 230 and jumped on it there. At FanDuel, you always have the option for it to freeze at 227. And I would take the Sixers with, at just -1 with that over, and you get like plus 185. I mean, the Sixers offense is obviously just impossible to stop when Joel Embiid is on normal rest. Jonas Valanciunas not going to be it. And everybody's playing off him beautifully with Nick Nurse calling the shots. And the Pelicans are back home after a little road trip here. They play faster, looser at home. With Zion, they obviously score more. And CJ McCollum might be back, which would, definitely should spark their offense. He's had a lot of success against the Sixers. Last time they played in NOLA, he had 42 in an overtime game. JoJo came right back. It wound up being a Pelicans win, but JoJo is now averaging 40 in his last 3 against this Pelicans team. So like I said, Jonas Valanciunas not stopping him. He's averaging, or the Sixers are averaging 126 in the last 5 Western Conference games with Embiid. They've gone over in 7 of their last 8 overall with Embiid. They're averaging 126 in their last 5 overall with Joel Embiid and shooting 40% from 3 because teams are just being completely compromised, trying to double him, trying to send half help, trying to do whatever they can, and then they're just getting wide open shots. And then you come back on the other side. Yeah, the Pels at home, again, coming back from a little lull in Utah at their last 6 at home, averaging over 122, 31 assists per game, shooting 40% in their own right from 3, with Zion compromising defenses. Zion is averaging 33 in just 31 minutes per game in his 3 career against the Sixers. He dropped 33 and 10 and 5 against the Nick Nurse Raptors last year. Now facing Nick Nurse again. That game actually got to 234 with the freaking Raptors playing at a 105 pace. So whatever Zion did to spark that game, it had a nice offensive flow here. And yeah, I think the Pelicans giving up the most threes, yet number 1 in opponents' 3-point shooting. How much of that is luck? I mean, that's got to regress towards the middle in some way. They are a rangy, good defensive team. But like I said, when you compromise your defense to deal with Embiid, you're going to wind up giving much better looks than you usually do.
Yep, I'm with that game theory 100%, and I'm with Nola scoring more at home too. And really for Philly, what's really interesting to me is how many fast break points they're giving up. I think that's going to be a problem for them with Herb Jones in there, thank God. And then maybe CJ back. Yeah, I'm not necessarily banking on it because I'm going to go with a Zion prop there in our player props video. But I was looking at some of the same stuff you were to get there with Zion and him getting points and things I'm talking about because it will be an over. It's all within the same kind of game script of what you're talking about here. So a slightly different game script for my first pick, the Clips and the Kangs. And this might sound scary, but I'm taking an under 230.5. I'm also going to take the Clippers money line. So I'm going to split that unit there. And really, if you want to parlay them together, I think there's pretty solid correlation. I just don't always love taking, I'm not going to take the point. So the money line and the under actually isn't that bad of a bet. I just don't love taking a favorite with an under in a parlay, but I don't need to take the points because it's such a small spread here. So LAC at SAC, under 230.5. It sounds crazy because at one point in time, they played the second highest scoring game in the history of the NBA. But that was a different time, and that was a different team. That was Russell Westbrook's Clippers. That was also the Kings not coming off a back-to-back that you've got to consider the emotional win of the season for them, not to mention the fact that they had to come back from down 20 in the second half at one point, not to mention that that game was played at a 105.5 pace. De'Aaron Fox saw 40 minutes in that game. Sabonis saw 36. We still don't have obviously the final injury report from the Kings, so we don't know exactly who's even going to play. But there was a few guys that played less than 30 minutes and a number of guys that played well over 30 minutes, so we might not be seeing everybody. At any rate, even if we do see everybody, this is, a situation with the Clippers where no matter what's happened with them in their roster change, they've been the same defensive team all season. They're still a top 7 defensive team, according to their defensive rating, according to their ability to stop a lot of what the Kings want to do because of the fact that they slow the game down. They played at about a 97 pace since Harden has gotten there, and that's been 11 games now. Plus, it's past the 10-game mark, I'll remind you, that Ty Lue gave us for their benchmark moment when they were going to start to figure it all out. So they lost game 11 in really disappointing fashion to the Nuggets, where they got beat pretty bad by DeAndre Jordan and Reggie Jackson. But such is the sort of duality of the Clippers, where you don't necessarily know when they're going to bring it. I think this is one of those games where they bring it because it's an opportunity with a tired Kings team. They've gone under, by the way, so just really the under might even be a little bit more my favorite bet. So when I say I'm splitting the unit, might be more like a 0.7 to 0.3 kind of deal to get to the full unit with 0.7 units on the under. Because the way that these Clippers are playing since Harden got there, under in all 11 games, at least under 230.5 is what all of their games have gone. They have a 110 defensive rating, like I said, still 7th best, and their games are averaging 107 to 106 points without much difference between how they play on the road and at home. So not really much to worry about them being on the road or playing faster for any reason. I still think they can control this game a bit more. Crowd might be raucous over there at Golden One, but it was beyond crazy last night. I don't know how you match that in another game that you just don't need quite as bad without playing the Warriors and an emotional and crazy Draymond Green, who did everything he could to get thrown out of that game and still didn't somehow. I think that everything is just clear letdown game for the Kings in this one, and the Clippers should be able to take advantage.
Yeah, that's the spot. It's Clippers money line, although Kings are very good at home and very high scoring at home. I'm personally banned from betting any under in this matchup. I'm probably staying away from under in Kings home games in general, but yeah, it was last year I tried to call under in that game that went to over 300 points, and just, maybe my worst call of the entire season. But yeah, here we'll see who's out for the Kings, because I don't think the Clippers are going to let a backup point guard burn them in back-to-back games here. Ty Lue and the defense should be pretty good. I would like to take them to get the win here. I think you just bet this before you get the injury report if you're trying to get some action in early, and just expect that the Kings are going to rule somebody out after all those minutes that you laid out. Yep. So I'm going to take a road favorite here as well. Phoenix -3 at Toronto. And interesting, KD missed their last game, but his props are up and Book's are not. Book has just been dealing with that sore calf. He's listed as questionable to probable. I think both of them are going to play. But as of what we have right now, a little same game parlay option is Suns -3, KD 25 points, Nurk 8 rebounds. They're going to need Nurk down low against this really good rebounding Raptors team. And he has 43 boards in his last 3 against the Raptors, including 14 boards in 18 minutes before sitting down or getting injured, whatever happened with that one with Portland. Toronto, just not a particularly good team. They take care of business against teams with losing records, but they have lost and failed to cover their last 3 against winning teams. I'm sorry, they covered against the Celtics, but 0-3 at home, last 3 against winning teams. And they're on a back-to-back here after losing in Brooklyn. They're 5-10 on back-to-back since the start of last year. In their last 10, under this new coach, Darko, the defense has just not been the same as it was with Nurse and with the personnel. Last 10, they're 3rd worst in terms of opponents' field goal shooting, 3-point percentage, 6th worst opponents' assists. They're 21st in offense, 20th in defense. They were just cooked by Mikal Bridges and Spencer Dinwiddie. OG, a 126 defensive rating, so I don't know if he's the defensive stopper that they're going to be able to throw at KD. And even when their defense played pretty well, they held Donnie Mitchell the 4 for 17 field goal shooting the previous game, they still couldn't get enough points because, as we know, the last 2 years, Raptors half-court offense is just abysmal. And Phoenix is playing a half-court game right now and cooking people. 7 straight wins, 4 straight covers, 2 on the road. They're giving 125 a game with insane team shooting splits. That's the best offensive rating in the league. And they're not depending on burning you in the paint, right? I mean, it's pretty balanced scoring, obviously pretty high in the mid-range. And yeah, you have Frank Vogel. His last trip to Toronto, for what it's worth, was able to pull out a win. Last 2 trips with the Lakers, a win with LeBron and a bunch of bums around him in overtime when it was Nick Nurse, when the Raptors were closer to an above average team. So with the rest advantage, I will take the Suns in this one.
Yeah, the only thing that scares me about this game is just the matchup that I think of with a lack of wings and basically role players, which a lot of guys on Toronto, you could make the argument, are like really good top level role players all in one, with maybe potential Siakam star and maybe Scotty Barnes moving forward into the star role as well. But it's just interesting because all the types of guys that you would need to stop Toronto, I just don't think the Suns have them. That would be where I get worried about. The KD scoring and the Nurk rebounding, I'm with. I think Nurk's going to have a pretty good game against Pirtle, who, I mean, as good as he's played at times, he's not exactly a stopper right now, to be honest. Even though he's had a really good defensive field goal percentage at the rim in the past, it's fluctuated already this year as well. My main point is like that's the area where I think they can win is like down low, and then KD and Book scoring. When it comes to guarding the other guys, we'll see if the better role players for the Raptors are able to hang around. But I'm not going to tell you not to bet this one specifically. It's just not for me. But last one is something that is kind of for both of us. It's the Magic money line parlayed with the Lakers money line. And I'm really just so on the Magic. Honestly, if you want to take the Magic minus their 9.5 in some places, by all means, I think they're well equipped to win this game by double digits. So there's something there too. But for the money line bet to just kind of guarantee yourself a win, and we feel good about the Lakers as well. For Orlando, they're about to eat them up is what I see. Like whatever Washington has been able to do at times on offense against other teams, I don't see it happening here. We're talking about the team with the second best defensive rating. I believe in the 12-5 Magic, by the way. I'm really happy with my preseason 9-1 ticket for them to win the Southeast as somewhat of a fade of the Miami Heat. Like, well, someone's got to win this division. I did not going to tell you I predicted the Magic to have this good of a winning percentage, but I believe in them and their defense, especially at home. Actually been just as good on the road. A 106 defensive rating wherever they play. Like I said, second best. They allow the fewest threes, fifth fewest threes attempted. They allow the eighth fewest made, all on par, and that's partly due to the fact that they just don't allow field goal attempts in general. Fewest in the league, tied with the Knicks for 83 field goal attempts against them a game because they play super slowly and they don't give up anything easy. That's a big part of the reason that they're running guys off the 3-point line is they're happy to send you down low into the trees of their 6'10 front court plus Goga Bitadze, and obviously Wendell Carter Jr. when he's in, even though he's still hurt. But this is a clear game plan for them, is run you off the line. They're not worried about what happens once you get inside. And God, if you need to rely on guys like Jordan Poole's decision-making once they get inside, you take 2 dribbles inside the 3-point line, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and fade that right now. Also going to fade that in player props with probably a Jordan Poole under, little hint there. But for Orlando at home, it's crazy how good they are on offense. They're scoring 118 points per game at home, winning by an average margin of victory of 11. So they're plus minus overall at home, plus 11 per game. On the road, minus 105, and they're scoring 106 points per game. So there's just something there. And this was similar to last season as well for Orlando, just a much better team at home. Good on the road this year, 5-3, but still the 7-2 at home just beat the Celtics. Really beat them good too. The other day at home, it was a pretty legit game. This is a bad matchup for Washington. Dead last in defensive rebound percentage, allowing 16 second chance points per game, which is 4th most. Orlando, number 1. They have a 36% offensive rebound percentage at home. That would be good for number 1 in the league. They are number 2 overall at like 34%. And Utah, unsurprisingly, also gets a ton of offensive rebounds. The only team slightly better than them. But just get all the second chance points for Orlando. Get all the points in the paint for Orlando, where Washington allows the 3rd most. They're about to get turnovers. They get 23 points off of turnovers per game at home right now. So, like I said, I just keep convincing myself that they're going to win by double digits in this one. And then for the Lakers, it's LeBron against Detroit. I'll let you take that real quick because I believe in that entirely. They're 7-point favorites, and I do believe it's a good bounce back spot for them if you want to parlay those money lines, right?
Yeah, and same odds for Lakers to lead at halftime and full time. I don't know if you can parlay that with the Magic money line as well, but I think Lakers gonna lead wire to wire here. This Pistons team that is on the worst losing streak in the league. LeBron in a bounce back spot after the worst loss of his career on the road. They're at OKC the next night, so they absolutely need to get a win before a much tougher matchup. And there's not much to read into it here. The Lakers should take care of business at Detroit.
Yep, who just lost to these Wizards, by the way, got spanked by them. So that is all the time we have for you in Best Bets. Continue to follow along, like and subscribe to that page. Check out the Play Up Props we also have up for you today. Until we see you next, happy betting.